Ooh. Good, Ben. Good. I had no other choice. I had to restart the stream. I don't know what happened. I got the live dashboard up, and it has server URL. Should I pull up this stream in another tab? Maybe it's the URL's messed up. Hey, thanks, Jerry. Because I can't, while I'm live, I can't get the URL. Now, on the dashboard, it has something in there. Yeah, Ben, if you can do that, because it just says youtube.com webcam here. So let me check something out. Oops, I don't need that. Because I had the link up in two tabs, and because you can't actually run your crap from the live chat. So let me see something real fast. I'll pull this up. Quiet me down. Let me see something. Copy video. Okay. Let me try this. Go back into this. Nope, not that. Not that, not that. Here. Let me try something. No, it's not letting me do it. I think that's automatic there for the encoder. Because this is live 2. Yeah. Oh, Aaron. No, I was messing in the controls. I thought maybe the URL or something. See, up until I added the encoder that YouTube gave me, I used to get a real clean looking stream here. And ever since I monkeyed around with that, I get it looks grainy on my end. But like I've played back some of my shows, because I keep an eye on my chats, and it's fine. Yeah, I was looking, Aaron. I was looking. I mean, and then I can get into the whole other thing. So, all right, I'll play the show again. So just start it from where it stopped. It's about to go into the next.
Spirit. One may hate us, one may drive us away, our enemies may triumph over our physical weakness, but we are no longer to be gotten rid of. We have devoured the peoples, conquered their races, defiled them, broken their strength, made everything rotten, lazy, and corrupt with our stale culture. Our spirit can no longer be exterminated. Rabbi Harry Wharton said, The communist soul is the soul of Judaism. When we look deeper into the nature of communism, we see that it's essentially nothing else than Judaism. Since the Jews are the highest and most cultural people on earth, the Jews have a right to subordinate to themselves the rest of mankind and to be the masters over the whole world. The Jews will become the masters over the whole earth, and they will subordinate to themselves all nations. Judaism is communism, internationalism, the universal brotherhood of man, the emancipation of the working class, and the human society. It is with these spiritual weapons that the Jews will conquer the world and the human race.
Oh,
The
Aaron.
Aryans will be destroyed, and Marxism will triumph.
Okay. I went under my analytics because I got this up on another. And this is just under YouTube, Aaron. It says create highlights while live. It says upload highlight clips for your viewers, even before your event finishes. Ensure that sync to preview is enabled above. Learn more about highlights. And then it says create highlight, set start, set end, and upload. You hear that, Aaron? That's that just through YouTube alone, we may be able to add some stuff. I should try to do the Patriot and Warrior thing in a little bit, mess around with it. Because, I mean, some of this stuff I don't think you can do unless you're live. Everything look good?
The honest Weimar Jewish poet Stefan Zweig now feared a backlash against Jewry, saying, "It's disgusting how Jews are taking everything by storm. Should it not be our responsibility to anticipate the justified anti-Semitic indignation and call our people back to their senses?"
Now, this is the rise of Adolf Hitler. This is part 3.
A man who resented this degeneration of Germany, possibly more than anyone else in the
Cool.
world, was Adolf Hitler. Born on April 20th, 1889, into a working-class family, he was raised learning everything in life the hard way. Hitler lived as a homeless drifter for most of his life in the city of Vienna after being rejected by the Art College. While he apparently wasn't good enough to earn a position at the academy, he quickly discovered that many Jewish artists were. Some of these Jewish artists also migrated to Berlin, producing pornography and erotica for a living. Hitler volunteered to fight for Austria in 1914. By that time, both of his parents had passed away. He then begged Bavarian authorities to let him fight for Germany. He fought with great bravery, instinct, and distinction, and was promoted to Lance Corporal. He received
Maybe
the
they don't like
Military
me
Cross,
smoking online.
Iron Cross Second Class, Iron Cross First Class, and 6 medals for bravery. He was wounded twice. In October of 1916, he was badly wounded and abided 2 months in a military hospital. He could have stayed home, but instead chose to return to the front lines. In October 1918, he was temporarily blinded by a British poison gas attack. Hitler heard about the capitulation of Germany while recovering his eyesight at the hospital. He was confused and outraged after hearing the news and thought that the sacrifice and suffering of the German soldiers had been for nothing. The artist from Vienna wanted answers, and he would not rest until the enemies had been exposed and Germany's honor restored again. When Adolf Hitler joined the German Workers' Party, DAP, in 1919, he became the 7th member of the nationalist group. Hitler then decided that the time was right to seize power of the local government in Munich. Patriotic war veterans would join him in the revolt and move against the national government in Berlin. Hitler then used a rally in Munich Beer Hall to launch a coup. An enthusiastic crowd turned out to support him. The local uprising, or putsch, was ignited by a moving speech by Hitler, but it was interfered by communist troops who opened fire on the nationalists, killing 16 of them. Hitler and the others were arrested and tried for treason. At his trial, Hitler used his opportunity to spread his political and philosophical ideas, which apparently were so inspiring that they afterwards even published them in some newspapers. The judge was incredibly impressed and issued a lenient sentence for Hitler and the nationalist rebels. The Munich coup failed, but the legend of the great speaker grew, and by every day that went by, he fascinated and attracted new followers. He quickly generated a large support base. During his imprisonment of 1924, he wrote the Bible of National Socialism, Mein Kampf, My Struggle. His close associate, Rudolf Hess, imprisoned with Hitler, typed out the dictation for the book, which was published in 1925. Mein Kampf was part political manifesto and part autobiography, containing discussions of history, philosophy, and economics. In the book, Hitler explained the global conspiracy for world government and that it was directed by international Jewish bankers. He also wrote about the German loss of First World War, the Jewish Bolshevik Revolution, the Versailles Treaty, and the resulting hyperinflation that devastated Germany. He accused the elite Marxist Jews of Germany of controlling newspapers and banking, fomenting wars, and corrupting the art, culture, and morality of Europe. Mein Kampf quickly grew in popularity, which made Hitler a wealthy man. Hitler was not the only man who warned about the international Jewry. In 1922,
Drop, you
Henry
hear?
Ford, the American industrialist, founder of the Ford Motor Company, published a 4-volume set of booklets called The International Jew, where he exposed the plans and operations of an organized Jewish globalist elite. Ford's research revealed a hidden influence over the American politics, the Fed, the press, crime, and entertainment. German nationalists would later study and hand out translated copies of Ford's work. Adolf Hitler himself had a copy in his office, along with a photo of Ford. Ford himself referred to the problem of the rising influence of Jewish supremacism as the world's foremost problem. In 1931, Hitler said that he regarded Ford as an inspiration. To draw people away from both right nationalist and left socialist parties, Hitler merely added national and socialist to the party's name, making it NSDAP, taking socialism without internationalism and nationalism without capitalism. Hitler said to the people that Germany's most precious possession was their own people, and that they all had to unite to save their own nation. The most obvious difference between National Socialism and Communism was that National Socialism supported the concept of private property and a market economy, while Communism abolished all private property and the government controlled the economy through central planning. Under Communism, all private property was seized by the state. Under National Socialism, the private rights of citizens were respected and protected,
Club.
while under Communism there were no
Read
private
out of
rights.
freaking history.
National Socialism was shortly a radical movement in defense of Western civilization, while Communism was a revolutionary movement dedicated to its destruction. Hitler also clarified in 1938 that socialism in National Socialism did not equal Marxist International Socialism. He said, "Socialists I define from the word social, meaning in the main social equity. A socialist is one who serves the common good without giving up his individuality or personality, or the product of his personal efficiency. Our adopted term socialists has nothing to do with Marxian socialism. Marxism is
Okay,
anti-property.
You can do it, Aaron.
True socialism is not.
Or do you want
Marxism
to do
places
it?
no value on the individual or individual effort or efficiency. True socialism values the individual and encourages him in individual efficiency, at the same time holding that his interests as an individual must be in consonance with those of the community. All great inventions, discoveries, achievements were first the product of an individual brain. It is charged against me that I am against property and that I am an atheist. Both charges are false."
Speaking of humor, I'm going to hear Hitler tomorrow. Would you like to come? Hitler, the anti-Semite, the National Socialist anti-Semite. Call them Nazis just to piss them off. I hear he said.
The National Socialists did not call themselves Nazis. The term Nazi, along with Nazism, is a political epithet invented in the 1920s by Konrad Hayden as propaganda against the NSDAP and National Socialism. Konrad Hayden was a Jewish journalist and a member of the competing party, Social Democratic Party. The term was a variant of the nickname for members of the Social Democratic Party, which at that time used to be called SUSI, abbreviation of Sozialisten. Nazi was a political pun based upon the Austro-Bavarian slang word for simpleton or country bumpkin, and derived from the fairly common name Ignaz. It would be like saying Nazi. Hence, there were no Nazis. They were National Socialists. Hitler also designed the NSDAP flag. The swastika is an ancient symbol which means to be good, good luck, and represented light, consciousness, and well-being. The German people were seriously embittered and depressed by the state of affairs in the Weimar Republic, and they looked for an explanation and solution to that situation. National Socialism was their only hope for savior. With decadence and all the undermining of family values so ingrained in Germany, the country had become an unsafe and unfit place for any German family. By means of a democratic election, Hitler took over the leadership of Germany on January 30th, 1933. Hitler is often called a dictator, but in fact he's the only wartime leader that could prove that he was democratically elected. Hitler said, "Allow me 4 years, and I swear to you, as truly as I have now undertaken my duties, I will depart. It is not for any reward or benefit that I have taken office, but only for your sake. It has been the greatest decision of my whole life." Hitler came into true authoritative power in March 1933.
Hey, Daria.
He took over a poverty-stricken, sick, and hopelessly bankrupt state, with over 6 million Germans unemployed. All German gold reserves have been stolen by the victors of World War I as crushed.
Aaron, I'm under another tab, and I think I figured out how to do this stuff. I'll call you tomorrow if I can figure out how the hell I got where I am. But there's a select your encoder, and then I just did Wirecast for YouTube, and then it gives you all these directions. You got to download for Windows, whatever you're running. Then it says log into your YouTube ID, your channel name and password. Then you got to log into Wirecast for YouTube, and then connect to the event. This is from within Wirecast for YouTube. Click the Connect to YouTube button near the top and select your event from the menu. Then choose the Wirecast options to select video and audio source and broadcast. Start your encoder and start sending us your video stream, I don't know, and go to live control chat room. You can preview and start your event there. I don't know. I don't even know how I got there, but I'm there. Ugh. So I'll mess around with it either tonight or tomorrow, depending. Okay, back to this. Yeah, I'm gonna mess around with it because maybe we could do everything right from YouTube program, even though the OBS is installed. I can't get to all the controls. I might have to uninstall and reinstall the OBS because I had to download something different because my computer needed something extra. So I don't know.
requesting reparation payments. When Hitler kicked out the destructive international banking cabal, he became the only leader in history to arrest a Rothschild. He later restricted Jewish ownership of radio and newspapers. The Frankfurt School was closed down, and its members fled to the United States and migrated to major Jewish universities. Hitler did not want to fall back into the interest slavery of the international Jewish bankers. He therefore immediately outlawed the debt-based system, i.e. usury, by punishment of death.
I'm going to try to pause that so I'm not talking over it. Mikey, I thought you were... Hey, Ed, welcome back. I thought you were going live this Saturday, Mikey. Or is it this upcoming Saturday? Because I was looking for you. The video you put out on the 22nd, I got the notice yesterday, Mikey. Yesterday. I never got Aaron's notifications at all today. Were you doing the that one up there, the link that Bruce just laid, Mikey? Yeah, I mean, I was like, what the heck, man? I looked at your date. I left you a message that I was there. But I'm not getting the notifications. Cool, Daria. This was a 3-part series. This is a really deep documentary. Were you guys blocked out there on Saturday? Because I seen something coming through from oh, there's a part 4, Gus. We'll do that one tomorrow. I didn't see the part 4. Yeah. I think that, Mikey, I think that's what they did when they had the Portland. I had 3 live streams up, all these different views, and everybody went down about the same time. And then, of course, if you're taping it and you're not going with live feed, I mean, if it's an hour or two, it would probably take you 24 hours to freaking upload it. So, I mean, obviously it's getting jammed. I figure that's what happened to all the evidence out there in Paradise. And even the caravan. I think they jammed the signal so nobody could go live. Then it just came a point of hide the bodies. Oh, dang, Gus. Hold on to those links, because, and like I said, if you want, this week I'll do just a private between you and me so you can watch these. Okay. You got a link for that, Mikey? And is that the one you did, or is that one you worked on with? Good, Mikey. How is Trevor? He get out of the hospital yet? Bruce, it's a lot to swallow. It's a big red pill. And they're taking crap right out from flipping history. Team Tommy, all right. Okay, Gus. Oh, Daria, Aaron, he's a survivalist. He's living out on some land. He's out in New York State, and he's hanging out in a tent out there. He's kind of interesting to watch. He's got a stream out there. He uses that for his water source, everything. He's kind of like our survivalist in the bunch. And he usually streams every night, starting somewhere around 6-ish. A lot of times, though, like we're not getting the notifications. So no notifications, sometimes I got to go to the right and I see things. So, you might want to look there if you're watching something. I don't know what YouTube's doing, but I mean, I got Mikey's one of his live broadcasts, and I'm a wrench in his room. I got his notification 2 days later. I mean, yeah, they say better late than never, but that was a little crazy. Yeah, 2 days later, Mikey. So, yeah. And it's not that bad. It'd be nice to have a car though, so you can like not have trash around and keep your food and stuff. Yeah, there, it's very interesting. So you gotta check out Aaron the Tires. He's been working overtime the last 2 weeks because our other friend, Sick Pat. Oh, I'm sorry, Jerry. You gotta get you some colloidal silver. I tell you what, that stuff, half a dropper, you get a sore throat, within 30 minutes, that sore throat's done. So, but yeah, Mikey, they're totally, Pat encountered some old testosterone from high school. They, he got in a fight with 3 dudes. He gave just as good as he got, but man, he's messed up. He didn't go to jail or anything, but he's pretty messed up. He was gonna stream this week, but I think he's got about 3 busted fingers on one hand, or his hand's broken, one or the other. Hi, Dinah. Yeah, Dinah. I'm around. Whew. You see something, Dinah? And my computer's whining right now. If you guys start buffering, it's because this thing's going. Rear. Stash that cash, girlfriend. They'll check it out, Mikey. Yeah, Bruce, I didn't want to say that on camera. I don't want to get him in any trouble. No one got arrested, though. That was cool. Oh, dang, Dinah. Then you need a raise. I still got a hot mess going on here at my house. Yeah, it was, I think it was some guys, from high school. Hey, as long as he still survived, he got jumped by 3. So yeah, I think Pat did. I think Pat held his own. So you're 6 hours as well, or 5 hours, Mikey. Yeah, so I'm hoping Pat comes on next week. Aaron's been taking on most of the slack. You know, I do just Sundays and Mondays because I got Kev and everything, you know. Okay, Dinah, you feel better. I've been plugging April and Marf and all them guys. Yeah, it was a grudge thing, Ed. It was a grudge thing. Now I don't know what Pat was doing behind the CVS, but I don't know. Maybe it was in the parking lot and they went in the back to talk about it. So, but old Pat, Pat's a big guy. I don't know how big those guys were, but apparently they needed three. Yeah, just an old high school grudge club. I guess 30 some years later, it still didn't go away. I got a few people in high school like that. Yeah, Aaron, that was it. He tied the one guy to a flagpole. So yeah, the guy's I guess he was still affected. Yeah, club with three guys. Yeah. So that's why he didn't start streaming last week. He's been floating around in Ron G's room. He goes in for a little bit, I heard. Next time I go to the store, Aaron, I'm gonna buy him about 2 dozen pens and I'm gonna mail them off. Well, I wouldn't say he got beat up. I'll say pretty much, kid, that he held his own. I think they were pretty screwed up too. Dinah, get some of that colloidal silver. Infowars, if you're into it, he sells a pretty good colloidal silver. It's called Silver Bullet. Half a dropper, man. Get that. Build your resistance up. Yeah, Pat's okay. He's just hurting. I don't know what happened to the other guys, but I'm pretty sure that they're pretty hurting too. Yeah, Dinah. I'll catch you in April. I'm having issues with getting notifications. One guy went live and I got a notification 2 days later. That's the longest yet. Yeah, I gotta do it too, Daria. I gotta get that trash down. I'm sure Mikey B. Hey, kid. Hey, Mikey. See, kid, right there? Sub to that child and check out what he does on the news. He's 11 years old and he does a better weather than you can even find on TV. But of course, he does it for the States. So if you know anybody, toss his link out there. He's got like over 513 subs. But I know you know a lot of people in the States, Mikey. Nah, well, but Bruce, you never know. I mean, you didn't think he'd get convicted for the other thing either. It all depends who tells the better story. Yeah, Dinah, we're on the freaking hit list. Good night, Dinah. Yeah, Ben, you gotta check him out. He does phenomenal on the weather. I don't even turn the TV anymore. If I want to know what the weather is, I go right to the kids show. And he does it every day. He doesn't even take a day off. He gets right on there. He goes through windy.com, and it'll circle all the bad spots. He's 11, man. He's got a career. He's already got a career. I'm gonna try to hook him up with a little PayPal next month. I like Thor too, but sometimes Thor gets a little mad and throws political stuff in there. So I used to always watch Thor, but he just started going off about, oh well, you guys are more worried about politics. So Daria, do you remember when he went and he auctioned off some of his drawings, Thor? He had that troll in there. I'll give you a penny with free shipping. I was messing with that guy. I said, open your mouth again. Here you go, Thor. Here's another $5. I said, you want to keep it up? I got $5 more all day long. Keep running your mouth. And then I told him how much money he was making, old Thor, and it wasn't fun for him anymore. I was like, yeah, keep on opening your mouth. Keep it up. How to hurt a troll, Dad. Give the underdog the money. That was funny as anything. I'm glad I had money in the bank. I don't care about the money. It was more fun playing with that dang troll. Alrighty, I'm gonna put the show back on. Daria, buckle your seatbelt on this one. This is Europa. Part 3. This section's all about Hitler. Gotta do 5 kitty boxes. Listening, then tuck my baby in. Man after washing. There you go, Daria. Do you not get that cold, Gus? Yeah, but not when you're giving it to someone else, Aaron. He was degrading the guy. The guy had to raise some money for some bills, and he had all these drawings he did. So and the guy was being a jerk. He's like, I'll give you a penny for that drawing, and I want free shipping. Good night, Ed. So every time he did that, I'm like, I got $5. Keep opening your mouth. So every time he made a stupid little comment, oh, I'll give you 5 cents for that drawing. I told the guy keep his drawings, keep his artwork. So yeah, that was a lot of fun that day. Once the guy figured out the guy was actually making money, he clammed up and left. Thieves don't play, man. Thieves don't play. Thieves is right on that crap.
And created a new Deutschmark.
We got about a half hour left.
Only by productive German physical and intellectual labor. After having deleted the parasitical bankers from the equation, the German economic miracle took off almost immediately. Instead of borrowing from the banks at interest, the government instead created a new monetary system for the Germans called the Labor Treasury Note.
So just like I said, if y'all want to freaking screw with the freaking big bankers, put your money in a dang credit union bank. Get your money out of the actual banks. If you're going to use a credit card, try to pay it down. Or just put a little bit a month on and pay it before that. You figure 29% interest. That's 29 cents on a dollar. I'd rather make a deal with the mob, man. At least I know what the terms are. 50%. You don't pay us, we break your legs. Bankers, 29%. So get that stuff paid down and get your money at least for now. Or, start, at least if you got extra money, get it in silver and store it somewhere. I wouldn't keep any money in a regular bank. I'm opening up a credit union account myself, probably this week. So
millions of Germans were put to work, and the workers were paid with the treasury certificates. The government issued money was not backed by gold, but it was backed by something of real value. It was essentially receipt for labor and materials delivered to the government. Hitler said, for every mark that was issued, we required the equivalent of marks worth of work done or goods produced.
Let me empty my ashtray.
The workers then spent the certificates on other goods and services,
I'll be right back.
creating more jobs for more people. Hitler managed to end the reparation payments from the Versailles Treaty. He rebuilt Germany into something better than ever, and the nation quickly rose from the ashes and healed its deep wounds. The unemployment problem was solved, and the country was back on its feet. It had a solid, stable currency, no debt, and no inflation. Unemployment went from 50% down to less than 2% in a few short years. After 5 years, Hitler had given 6 million Germans work, and full employment was reached. Crime was almost non-existent, unemployment was a thing of the past, and there were no homeless and no beggars. In Billions for the Bankers, Debts for the People, 1984, Sheldon Emery stated, Germany issued debt-free and interest-free money from 1935 and on, accounting for its startling rise from the Depression to a world power in 5 years. Germany financed its entire government and war operations from 1935 to 1945 without gold and without debt, and it took the whole capitalist and communist world to destroy the German power over Europe and bring Europe back under the heel of the bankers. Such history of money does not even appear in the textbooks of public schools today. The main priority for Hitler was bringing back pride and belief in the German people again. In a symbolic act of national and spiritual rebirth, university students organized a one-time book burning of degenerate Marxist literature and books from the Institute of Sex Research in Berlin on May 10, 1933. Many of the National Socialist leaders were artists who looked at what needed to be improved in the world. As a result, art and entertainment now reflected the true values of the German people again, and there was a remarkable emphasis on culture. As a talented painter, Hitler was well aware of the Jewish Marxist influence behind the degradation of German art and culture. Thus, he invented the Day of German Art, Tag der Deutschen Kunst, which was a parade held in Munich displaying an appreciation for art and culture.
Yeah, kid. I get away with more because I go live and I do it through radio. Some people got suspended for 90 days for showing the State of the Union address.
Theaters flourished.
So I seem to be able to get away with more
produced about 100
radio
feature films
type
per year between 1933 and 1945. Some of the best classical recordings still existing were made in Hitler's Germany. Actors from all over Europe, primarily from France, Sweden, and Italy, were stars in German movies. Hitler transformed his country from an economically ruined land on the brink of breakdown, civil war, and total collapse into the world's most advanced and prosperous country.
Everybody was in a very bad economic situation. There was unemployment, there was hunger and inflation. And then Hitler came and offered that he would make Germany as a great nation again, and he would give back our lost self-confidence. And I myself, I was educated that my home country was something I have to serve to, and I was Vaterlandsliebe, and I was very proud of my country actually. I was infected actually by the singing and the crying and shouting to greet him, and I felt it was something very touching. And after he came to power, he started immediately to put in practice what he promised, and he gave housing to the workers and employment to the unemployed, and there was food, and everything was in order again.
It was a cultural and economic rebirth without parallel in the whole human history, which inspired the rest of the world to do the same. Hitler's radical program restored German economic independence, ensured racial security for the people, and diverted the nation's wealth from banking cartels to the ordinary people. Meanwhile, the rest of the world, still ruled under the Rothschild cabal, was still in recession. Hitler also relaxed the strict gun control laws of the previous government, allowing the people to defend themselves again. False claims are constantly made that Hitler could take power because he disarmed the German people. But this is nonsense. It was the Weimar government that already had disarmed the German people before. Gun clubs now open all over the Reich. A man who lived in Hitler's Germany was Hans Schmidt. He said, "To be a boy or girl at that time was wonderful. In the Hitler's youth, the differences between Christian denominations or the different German states did not
Okay,
count.
Deb, good
We
night.
all truly felt that we were members of one body of people, one nation. Youth hostels were opened all over the Reich, enable us to hike from one beautiful town to another, seeing our fatherland. Every effort was made to strengthen our minds and bodies.
Talk to you tomorrow, Deb.
Contrary to what is said today, we were encouraged to become free in spirit and not succumb to peer or authority pressure." 1st of May 1933 was made into a holiday for
kid.
the workers. Hitler implemented
Hope you got a
the
couple
Strength
subs tonight.
and Joy program, which was a generous social program that enabled the common man to have affordable leisure activities such as concerts, plays, libraries, day trips, and cruises to other countries. For the first time in the world, millions of workers and their children could access a foreign vacation almost for free. The first vacation cruises were built for the German workers. The favorite destinations were the Portuguese island of Madeira, as well as the Spanish island and port cities. The National Socialist Program is a manual for national recovery. Its lesson can be applied to any nation today. Drawing on the
Love you
program,
too, Deb.
Germany in less than 36 months enjoyed full employment and the world's highest standard of living.
Yes, I did, kid. Slow but sure, people come in. I'm gonna try to send you some money
Hitler's
this
way
week,
was
kid.
called the Volksekonomik. To
20 bucks
alleviate
or
the greatest
something.
need of the German people, winter assistant work was also immediately called into being. "No one shall starve or freeze," sounded the motto.
Das muss uns auch am Beginn jedes neuen
Neither, Mikey.
Winters erfüllen. Diese
Hey, I want
gefallene
to.
soziale Arbeit, die ist mehr als ein Almosen.
Wenn wir sagen, nicht den Reichen, gebt ihr den Armen, sondern wir sagen, deutsches Volk, hilft mir selbst. Jeder soll helfen, ob arm oder reich. Jeder soll sich denken, es gibt nur einen, der ärmer ist als ich, und dem will ich helfen als Volksgenosse.
Donations were sent to the poorest in Germany's cities and mountain regions. It was a first-rate social action that had great success. The poor people of these regions then created small items such as wood carvings, glassware, etc. as token for the donations received. This earned them work and bread, and the action spurred the whole nation and the German folk to stand united. In order to provide work and bread to the millions of unemployed, the construction of Autobahn began. Using only German material, the new road system was made so that it did not destroy either the German landscape or wildlife habitats or forests. The price per automobile was between 1,350 and 1,600 Reichsmarks. But Hitler thought the prices were too high for the common family. Thus Hitler, together with Ferdinand Porsche, dreamt up and designed the people's car, the Volkswagen. This would be the most built and most economical car in the world. At that time, it cost 995 Reichsmarks, which could be paid off in minor payments. Volkswagen was a word that Hitler himself personally chose. Germany was a Christian nation, of which more than 46 million belonged to the German Evangelical Protestant Church, and 30 million to the Roman Catholical faith. About 2,500 new churches were built in Germany. Hitler himself believed in positive Christianity, and he regularly visited the church.
What was he like as a man? The secretaries, at least, found him a very friendly, charming, polite, and patient chief. He has even a sense of humor, and we never experienced any loud words or something unfriendly. And to me, as I was the youngest, he had actually more or less a fatherly behavior. I liked him, and I felt well in his company, and I enjoyed talking to him and listening to his more or less monologues.
Tatsächlich. Er schaut mich so an. Das war einer der seltsamsten Momente meines Lebens. Ich habe das Gefühl gehabt, er sucht irgendwie, der Blick, der zunächst ganz auf mich gerichtet war, ging auf einmal durch mich hindurch in eine unbekannte Ferne. Das ist so sonderbar gewesen. Und der lange Blick, den er mir geschenkt hat, hat mich vollkommen überzeugt, dass er ein Mann mit ehrlichen Absichten war. Ich kann nur eins sagen, ich bin glücklich, dass mir Hitler von seiner schönsten Seite begegnet ist. Es hat sicher auch dunkle Seiten gegeben, aber ich habe ihn von seiner wunderbaren Seite erlebt. Und das ist etwas, was mir kein Mensch nehmen kann.
A lot of people, of course, have seen History Channel documentaries and scare pieces on the mass media that give a distorted view of what National Socialism actually is. First of all, National Socialism is an ideology about life. It's about the cultivation of life, of building strong families, of building families that are able to raise good children, children that are moral, children that are healthy, and children that are on a path of virtue to be able to build a better and brighter future for the nation. It's about cooperation, specifically class cooperation, gender cooperation, and cooperation throughout all members of society. National Socialism views the nation like a body, and a body takes all different parts. The liver is not more important than the brain or the heart or the arm or the leg. Everything works in tandem with one another to be able to be life. We as National Socialists support every single member of our community as being part of an extended family. The working class has a responsibility and a duty to be able to work hard, but they also have a right to economic justice, to having their voices be heard within society. And bosses have a right to be able to make profits within their corporations and companies, but they also need to ensure that they're putting the best interests of the worker, families, and the nation first. We believe in taking from the right nationalism without capitalism, and from the left socialism without internationalism. At the end of the day, National Socialism and its economic theory is about putting the nation first, because the nation is your family. National Socialism is also about rejecting capitalism and communism. Capitalism and communism are two ideologies that take the human being and make him a cog within a greater machine. Communism wages a war of the poor against the rich, and capitalism is a war of the rich against the poor. Both of these are Jewish ideologies, and ideologies that poison the national community. They tear apart the working class, they tear apart families, and they turn the nation into one giant fire sale. To be able to say that whoever has the most money or the most power is able to loot and pillage it. National Socialism says that the national community has to work together, that we need to ensure that everyone has rights and duties and responsibilities to one another, and this in turn creates a healthier society. National Socialism believes in the cultivation of virtue. We reject the degeneracy that we see in the modern West, the pornography that we see on our television screens, the radical individualism within our society, and instead say we want to be able to cultivate and activate within ourselves natural beauty. We want to be able to build beautiful art. We want to be able to build beautiful cities and beautiful communities. This is about the cultivation of what is good. And everything about capitalism and communism and the Jewish power structure is about destroying what is good. We see this in the modern West, whether it's the importation of foreign peoples, foreign ideologies, radical feminism, abortion, and a culture that supports death instead of life. This is an ideology of death, a death cult that is destroying the Western peoples and the Western world. We as National Socialists support an ideology of life, of rebirth and rebuilding ourselves and our nations. We're an ideology that believes in peace throughout the entire world. General Leon Degrelle said that National Socialism and racialism is about lifting your own people up, and we want the same for every single group of people. We want every single ethnicity and ethnic community around the world to be able to be stronger, to be able to chart their own destiny, and be able to work together against the international Jew, work against the international capitalist, and work against a system that breaks apart nations and families. Finally, National Socialism is an ideology that isn't an ideology. It follows natural law. These are principles that are within all of us. We as National Socialists, whether we are Christians or pagans or simply agnostics, understand that there is a greater power and there's greater principles that drive us.
Can you say those two words in the same
family and a
sentence?
national community,
It just doesn't
we're not
make
at
sense.
war with one another over differences on religion, differences in subculture, or differences in
This
class.
part's a little
We
hinky.
understand that working
I
together
agree,
as
Aaron.
a team is what will make our nation strong. National Socialism is building a better and brighter future.
I don't
You might
agree.
get a lot of lies in the media, but what the truth is we are the only ideology that can defeat the international Jew and the international capitalist. Not just
I mean, I understand where they're trying to point this at, Aaron, but I don't think socialism's good anywhere. And I don't even see how you could put those two words in the same sentence together, let alone back to back. I mean, from what I've been taught, socialism is and nationalism, they're two polar opposites. I mean, I get why Hitler did what he did. It was against the central bankers and stuff like that. How he did it, I don't agree with. Do I understand it now? Yes, I do. But this part 3 on this is, you know, I don't agree with it either. I just, you know, I mean, maybe I need to go back to the dictionary. I'm going to get one of them old-time Websters before they started taking words out. But I don't think you can be a national socialist. You know, a nationalist is a nationalist. Yeah, Gus, I'm gonna maybe I'll play the part 4 and part 5 next week. Just so we got something cool to listen to. But yeah, Aaron, I agree. I don't believe with this portion of the documentary. It don't fit. I mean, it just seems like they just throw two words together and make a whole new meaning, and no. So it's just, I mean, I'm still going to listen because maybe I'm wrong. But my opinion's based on what I know, and that's all I can go off of, you know, until I root and you know, try to find something else. But socialism in any form, you can't just keep giving people free stuff. Somebody has to pay for it. Kid Club, you know, they do you remember Trump saying he found like $24 trillion? It was back around the summertime. It was briefly said, and that was it. And some people were like, "Oh, I'd pay off all the debt." But he could take the feds down if he declares our country bankruptcy. Russia, China, they already sold off our debt. Other little countries have it. So we owe under $8 trillion to other countries. The rest is all on the feds. So if you know what I mean, he's a businessman. He's actually declared bankruptcy. But if he really wanted to spank the feds, all he has to do is even declare partial bankruptcy on our country. Pay back the little people, but he could look at them and say, "We ain't paying. We'll come over and knock the snot out of you." So, you know, but still under 8 trillion in debt, opposed to almost 21 trillion. Gus, I think he can if he declared bankruptcy, the United States as bankruptcy. I honestly think he could do it. I mean, just from what I pulled up the other week and read. Yeah, well, that's okay if he signs that executive order anyway. He'd be taking one for the U.S., you know. I heard up to 30 attempts on Trump already. And I helped put that guy in the Philippines away 2 weeks before Trump got there. Heck, just as recent as the holidays, they had some Marines in there that were not on the up and up. You didn't hear much about that either. One of the Marines freaking got shot out on the White House lawn or something like that. They got Trump ushered. Actually, Putin had a spy or something over there in Russia, and apparently he called Trump and said, "Look, I got this guy here, and they're going to do this." And so Trump got away. You know, he got away without it, and he really likes his Marines too. You know, there's good and bad in everything. There's good Marines, there's bad Marines, there's some people being paid, some people not being paid. So, you know, it gets a little crazy. Yeah, Bruce, well, we know where his head was. He should have stayed a little further up Hillary's butt so he could have suffocated. Yeah, Gus has some pretty interesting links he lays with talk shows. And I mean, you know, we only get part of the story here, and sometimes you gotta like hop the pond and see what they're playing over there. And somewhere in between, you know, you're gonna realize that this don't make sense, or that don't make sense. All right, we'll play the rest of this. We can agree to disagree on what they're saying. We've got about another 12 minutes.
Just in our nation, but in all nations, to bring about an earth where we take care of the environment. We take care of animals. We take care of the water we drink and the air we breathe, and we take care of our blood and our culture. National Socialism makes you a steward. You have responsibilities and duties. It is not an ideology for the weak. It is an ideology for those that love their faith, their family, and their folk.
The term democracy means something it did not mean 100 years or even 50 years ago. In fact, the National Socialists strive to revive and restore the term democracy to its original and rightful meaning. The National Socialist form of democracy was based on the principle of community of the people. The National Socialist electoral system was not based on the parliamentary system, but was nonetheless democratic. The national system of government was largely based on referenda, in which the really important issues of the day were debated and voted upon by the German people. Thus, the National Socialist form of democracy was more pure and more representative than that of today.
Yeah, I don't wrote it, and it's to spark some, you know, for us to think and something for us to talk about. And everyone, you know, I like to see everyone's opinion. Okay, here we go. Hitler was aware that feminism was a clever Jewish cultural Marxist trick. Marxist. Try to say that one again. A trick to corrupt the people and destroy the founding blocks of the Western civilization, i.e., heterosexuality and the family unit. Hitler said the phrase, "Emancipation of women is only an invention of the Jewish intellect, and its content is stamped with the same spirit. In the really good periods of German life, the German women never needed to emancipate herself." He continued, the so-called organic of equal rights to women, which Marxism demands. In reality, oh, you son of a clinker. Hold on, I'm gonna wait till this scrolls up a little. Oh, no, you didn't. He continued, the so-called granting of equal rights to women, which Marxism demands, in reality does not grant equal rights, but constitutes a deprivation of rights, since it draws the women. Let me see if I can get the rest of this before it disappears. Into an area which she will necessarily be inferior. The woman has her own battlefield. I know it's going to disappear. It's rated about the 27-second. For every child that she brings into the world. I'm trying to see it before it disappears, guys. Rights to her battle for the nation.
Each and every child in Hitler's Germany was considered a sacred blessing from above and a reason to celebrate. Motherhood was a cherished and noble act again. The Cross of Honor of the German Mother was awarded to mothers who had many children.
Und das müssen Sie von mir verstehen. Wenn ich heute einen weiblichen Juristen von mir habe und der kann noch so viel leisten und nebenan eine Mutter mit 5, 6, 7 Kindern und die sind ganz gesund und sie von ihr gut erzogen, dann möchte ich sagen, ewigen Standpunkt des ewigen Wertes unseres Volkes aus hat die Frau, die Kinder bekommen kann und die sie nun bekommen hat und die sie nun erzogen hat.
And thereby gave our people the ability to live in the future. Subtitles, guys.
Das Leben in die Zukunft geschenkt hat wieder. Hat mehr geleistet. Sie hat mehr getan.
She has done more. She assists us to avoid the death of our people.
Mit den Tod unseres Volkes zu vermeiden.
In 1933, Hitler passed a law that enabled married couples to obtain interest-free loans, minimum 1,000 Reichsmarks, equals to 9 months' salary, to set up homes and start families. For each childbirth, the couple was allowed to keep 250 marks and did not have to repay it. Newly married couples with children received these generous loans repayable in 10 years, so they could buy a house or apartment. The birth of the first child would cancel a quarter of the loan. 4 children would cancel the entire debt. Over a 10-year period, a family with 4 children would earn more than the amount of the loan. In the eyes of the National Socialists, women were viewed as the preservers of the tribe, the guardians of future generations. Everywhere in Germany, houses and apartments were built for their workers. Villages of small single-family homes were set up. The monthly payments were set so low that practically everyone could afford his own house. All houses were naturally constructed according to the highest standards of public health. Before the end of 1933, Hitler succeeded in building 200,000 buildings in accordance with his building program. Within 4 years, nearly 1.5 million were built for the German people. The monthly rent for a worker was only about an eighth of his monthly earnings.
Yeah, gosh,
the
you're lucky.
The economic situation was also drastically improved. In 1933 alone, 17,611 houses were built for farmers. Within 3
Probably,
years,
kid.
91,000 such houses were built. The National Socialists were the first to actively campaign against smoking and personally funded the Institute for the Struggle Against Tobacco. Germany became the first in the world
More
to
like
ban
a tax
smoking on
credit
public transit.
club.
In
That's the way I'm
1937,
seeing
his
it.
government enacted the first law which prohibited the sale of alcohol to minors and enacted stiff penalties for drunken driving. They also introduced the first
Mad.
blood test for automobile drivers suspected of driving drunk. Adolf Hitler was the first person to create a law against the mistreatment of animals, recognizing it to be evil. A law imposing a total ban.
Oddly, we got all this crap. We had, MAD, PETA. We get all this stuff, and Hitler was doing it back then. So, I mean, all this stuff that's been, and MAD was some crazy stuff. The lady that actually started that resigned because of how crazy it was getting. I'm sorry, when I had to view a freaking morgue, when I had to go through the morgue tour, I hopped up on the gurney and yelled scalpel. I was that upset that they made me view a live body. I mean, I don't even like to go to viewings and funerals. So I almost got a charge smacked on me for that. Something about messing with a dead body. It's like, well, dumbasses, some people just can't handle seeing dead people. Yeah, no, Cloud, whites get very, very few things. Even with all the crap with Kev, I mean, the one lady was like, well, sorry, we can't help. We don't have any money. I said, granted, 30 billion so far this year just to illegals. I guess you don't have any money left for white America. Meanwhile, I didn't realize one of the shotguns was in the corner next to the love seat. I think she was a total liberal. So, yeah, we put that in a different spot now. But yeah, here's somebody, him, me, we worked and put into the system our whole life. And then they're going to come back and say, yeah, well, sorry, we can't help you. It's like, okay, the man has zero income. What do you mean there's no help? But yet you could put just one foot on America's soil and not belong here. There's 127 different agencies. I mean, like Hawaii. For not working, you get paid $42,000 a year. It's like $20 more than the minimum wage. It's just ludicrous. It's crazy. All right, we don't have long on this show.
And on animal experiments was enacted. The National Socialists declare an end to the unbearable torture and suffering in animal experiments. Goering announced in a radio broadcast, an absolute and permanent ban on vivisection is not only a necessary law to protect animals and show sympathy with their pain, but is also a law for humanity itself. The inhuman ritual slaughter of animals as kosher and halal was totally banned. The Reich Animal Protection Act was enacted. Germany even hosted an international conference on animal protection in Berlin. Education on animal protection laws were introduced at primary, secondary, and college levels. Animal protection was accepted as a subject to be taught in public schools and universities in Germany. With all of these fantastic achievements, German self-confidence, national pride, and happiness skyrocketed. Germany were now free and independent without having to be in debt to the bankers anymore. Hitler became a living legend to his people as his policies put Germany back on its feet, and he was even named the Man of the Year in 1938. Ex-Prime Minister David Lloyd George said, "It is not the Germany of the decade that followed the war broken, dejected, and bowed down with a sense of apprehension and impotence. It is now full of hope and confidence. One man has accomplished this miracle.
Yep, I agree, kid.
The young idolize him. It is not the admiration accorded to a popular leader. It is the worship
Just
of
did
a
Aaron go
national
live
hero
again?
who has saved his country from utter despotism and degradation. I have never met a happier people.
So what we know about Adolf Hitler is like what we know about history. The victors, of course, write the history, don't they? They write the history, and they tell us a narrative, and we're supposed to swallow that bullshit as if it's true. The major crime of Adolf Hitler was that he got Germany out of a banking debt that was drowning the German people in a cesspool of moral decay, drowning in debt. And he had to actually say fuck off to the bankers and start printing their own money. And Germany went from a destitute post-World War country that was drowning, Germans starving, no jobs, nothing. And he got them out of that debt and literally brought that nation back to a powerhouse within several years just by using their own money supply. That's the real crime that Adolf Hitler committed. Now, I could sit here and talk and really excite the senses a little bit more about everything we've been taught about World War II and the Holocaust, but let it suffice to say that it fits in line with virtually everything we've been told about history in general. Bullshit. Bullshit. And John F. Kennedy had the courage and the balls and integrity to bypass the Federal Reserve Bank, to bypass his financial system, and he was dead within 6 months. And there ain't no coincidence there. Definitely not.
You guys seeing me, or are you seeing a bunch of cameras?
One thing to turn it all around. One thing. Let's confront that financial system. Let us print our own money.
Yeah, I think Aaron went live, Gus. He said he was going to do it at midnight, and I don't know.
You see the faces of them Germans coming out to the droves to meet Adolf Hitler, with genuine smiles on their face. This is something you can't act, you can't hide. You know, it's there for all to see, because there is no denying it. There's an awesome look for this guy, and there would be. Who wouldn't love a guy who's took you out of poverty and put you into a place now where your family's secure, you know you've got bread on your table, and your wages are solid, and everything's fine. You would adore this guy. Now, these are not actions of an evil man. This is a man who loves his country and loves the people in his country.
However, the rebirth of Germany and its people was a thorn in the eye for the international bankers because they could no longer control Germany or her people anymore. The communists had officially lost control of Germany. Extreme agitation in the media against Hitler and Germany would be the result. Propaganda campaigns were now launched against him and in the West by the Jewish-owned press. The propaganda would soon develop into one of the bloodiest battles of all human history. In 1936, Winston Churchill started to get jealous. Strong. We must crush her. You must understand that this war is not against Hitler or National Socialism, but against the strength of the German people, which is to be smashed once and for all, regardless of whether it is in the hands of Hitler or a Jesuit priest. So, hey, Club, you get what's your blood type? If you're negative, you're going to feel alone, like you don't fit. Find out your blood type, and then start doing some research. Oh yeah, Club. I mean, they do experiments, and you don't even know they're doing it. They got the new social experiment going on out in California. They're going to give a group of people like $500 a month. I mean, not that you could do a whole lot with $500 in California. I don't know, maybe buy a car and pay the payments every month. I'm not seeing Aaron live. Anybody else seeing him live? Well, we'll play this real fast. This was that video that I showed that I uploaded, but we'll play it. Make sure the volume's not too loud on this.
I had a dream the other night. I didn't understand. A figure walking through the mist with a rifle in his hand. His clothes were torn and dirty as he stood there by the bed. He took off his three-cornered hat and, speaking low, he said,
"We fought a revolution to secure your liberty. We wrote the Constitution as a shield from tyranny. For future generations, this legacy we gave to make you the land of the free and home of the brave. The freedoms we secured for you, we thought you'd always keep. But tyrants labor endlessly while your parents were asleep. Now your freedom's gone. Your courage is lost. You're no more than a slave in your land of the free and home of the brave. You buy permits to travel, permits to own a gun, permits to start a business or build a place for one on land you think you own. You pay your yearly rent, but you don't have a voice in saying how that money's spent. Now your children attend a school that doesn't educate, and your Christian values can't be taught according to the state. You read about your current news in a regulated press and pay more taxes than you owe to that thing called IRS. Your money's no longer made of silver or gold. You trade your wealth for paper so your life can be controlled. And you pay for crimes that make your nation turn from God in shame. Now you've taken Satan's number and traded in your name. You give your government control to those who could do you harm, so they could padlock churches and steal the family farm and keep the nation deep in debt while putting men of faith in jail, and then harass your fellow countrymen while your corrupt courts prevail. Your public servants don't uphold the solemn oaths they've sworn, and now your daughters visit doctors so their children won't be born. You send guns and artillery to foreign shore, and then you send your youth to slaughter fighting other people's wars. Could you regain the freedoms for which we fought and died, or have you lost your courage and your faith to stand with pride? Are there no more values for which you fight to save? Or do you wish your children to live in fear and be a slave? And people of this republic, it's time to rise and take a stand. Defend the Constitution, the supreme law of your land. Preserve your great republic and every God-given right. And let us pray to God to keep that torch of freedom burning bright.
As I awoke, he vanished. in the mist from which he came. His words were true. We are not free. We have ourselves to blame. For even now, as tyrants trample each God-given right, we only watch and tremble, too afraid to stand and fight. If he stood by your bedside in a dream while you're asleep and wondered what remains of our rights he fought to keep, what would be your answer if he called out from the grave? Is this still the land of the free and the home of the brave?
The Visitor from the Past, a poem by Felon Pulse, which was awesome. And Club, I ain't no saint either. I had some people poke at me and Ben, that sounds so cool though. I don't know if we have bobcats here. I guess we probably do. North Carolina. Alrighty, guys. We're going to do the outro. Thank you all for hanging out. I'm going to try to find Aaron if he went live or not. Guess I'll see you in the Hangout chat. I want to say God bless. Thank you, everyone. Good night. Well, I think. Nope, wrong one. We'll get it right. Guys, Sunday night at 9. Find something cool to listen to. Alright then, I think Aaron's going live again tonight. He wanted to do the, oh, he is live. Let me grab that link. Alrighty, everybody. Thank you. Good night. God bless.